All right, so we give praise, esteem, and honor to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahusha Shiach this day. And we go pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they will testify of me. And you not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accuse you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All praise, esteem to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Still going to have sprinklings of the priesthood of Melchizedek, but we're going to come back with the focus on the stuff that we were talking about. Shalom, Jay, with those who were in the grave, and still relate that back. Shalom, Brother Herman. I'll let that be known later, at least on Saturday, that Zoom call that I told you that we need to have, we're going to do it on Trumpets, you who are willing. So that therefore everybody who's in the city is physically present, and those who are out of town, Shalom, Amuna, Shalom, Omar, those who are out of town, that they can just get the link. We don't have to be sending out a multitude of different links. What's happening, Zoe? If everybody is in the same place at the same time, make it easier to facilitate. Psalms 88 and 1. Yahuwah Elohim of my salvation, I have cried day, night before you. Let my prayer come before you. Let your ear, incline your ear unto my cry, for my soul is full of troubles. My life drawn near unto the grave. I am counted with them that go down into the pit. I am as a man, no strength, free among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, whom you remember no more, and they are cut off from your hand. You laid me in the lowest pit in darkness. Shalom in this room. In the deeps, your wrath lay hard upon me, and you have afflicted me with all your ways, Selah. You've put away my acquaintance far from me. You have made me an abomination unto them. I shut up, and I cannot come forth. My eye mourned by the reason of affliction, Yahuwah. I've called daily upon you. I've stretched out my hands unto you. Will you show wonders to the dead? Shall the dead arise and praise you? Selah. Shall your loving kindness be declared in the grave, your faithfulness in destruction? Shall your wonders be known in the dark, and your righteousness in the land of forgetfulness? But unto you have I cried, O Yahuwah, and in the morning shall my prayer prevent you. Yahuwah, why you cast you off my soul and hide you my face from me? I afflicted, ready to die from youth up. I suffer your terrors, I am distracted. Your fierce wrath go over me. Your terrors have cut me off. They came round about me daily like water. They compassed me about together. Lover and friend have you put far from me, my acquaintance in darkness. So boom, we got the stuff that we got to hit. Free among the dead is the focus. We're going to be dealing with this stuff as it pertains, again, still tying to the priesthood of Melchizedek. But I'm going to share something with you. I had a conversation with this dude this afternoon. You did. Most of y'all probably don't know this. As forth as Jewish thought. When I say Jewish thought, it doesn't matter if you think it's white Jews or black Jews. That's irrelevant. They're just talking about ancient Hebrews and their thought process towards the temple. Are any of you familiar with ancient Israelites' thought process towards the temple? Because people frame certain teachings and things of that nature according to this. And you're probably going to hear me say this a few times this evening. And I want you to know that it's all praise be to Yahuwah about it. See, yesterday we were supposed to be in somebody else's room because a young lady I know, she asked a question, did anybody think Adam felt pain? When the rib was taken from his side. Peace, Brother Nate. And looking at him being in a deep sleep, whatever the case, and whatever form of. I mentioned to him about, the John 19 with Mashiach getting hit in his side is the fulfilling of Adam and the things that relate to that. We were supposed to deal with that yesterday, but there were two individuals in there who were uncouth to say the least. You know what I'm talking about? And I didn't. It came immediately to my mind to not cast pearls before swine because they were already getting in a fight about several things. We ended up doing it in a friend of friends. You know what I'm talking about? But in that friend of friends, I made mention of something. I think I've mentioned this before. Dude, we know who's really just getting on like you can live without sin. And I think we was in 1 Timothy 2 and 16, whichever verse it is, where it say, the woman will be saved in childbearing as long as she continues in faith, love, and sobriety. Sobriety in Greek is self-control. You know what I'm saying? And of course, we can elucidate on how Mashiach did that in childbirth. That's why he was saved in childbearing, so on and so forth. Because obviously, all you ladies know who've had a child, you know what I'm saying, that every time a woman goes to give birth, she could die. And because we live in America, even though I don't know what they call it, what's the proper term for it, because I know it's not infant mortality, but death during pregnancy is a little higher for Black women than it is for other races of women, for what I've seen. Peacemaker. But because we live in a more technologically advanced society, if that's the word that you want to use, and that women don't die in childbirth as often as they did in times past, you have the thought process. Peace, Joseph, man. You had a thought process of, oh, she's just gonna come out of that, like nothing's gonna happen. Shalom, Brother Robert. Like she's not gonna die. You don't think that, and most of the time you don't think that because you don't know anybody who that's happened to. You know what I'm saying? See, stuff hits your brain a little harder when you know somebody personally who that happened to. So he come in, he looking for a fight. We had to tell him what we were doing. I mentioned all that because this brother started out with a wrong doctrine. And then he came to this here, and I'm like, yo, we've been on this for 15 years. See, this new to you, this not new to us. You understand? Because I'm like, we ain't never had to change no teachings. You know what I mean? You know what he said? I was just reading 1 Samuel 4 when Eli's daughter-in-law died giving birth. And it was for the glory being taken. Yeah, definitely. Most absolutely. And I say that, and some people will hear that, and because when I said that, my dog was like, so you ain't never been wrong? I said, that's not what I said. What we're talking about is we ain't never had to change no teachings. What do I mean by that? Most Israelites focus on doctrine. What does that mean? Can Gentiles be saved? Is salvation only for Israel? Is the virgin birth true? You know what I'm saying? Breakdowns, we never done that. The only thing that we've ever done is the testimony of the Son of God, the righteous obedience of faith, and holiness. Kadashtas, clean living, being born of the word to receive the Ruach, the everlasting life. When you keep it that simple and foundational, you ain't got to change nothing. Ain't gonna gotta come back and like, oh, we had this wrong, we need to correct that. You ain't never got to do that. When you come with it, you just wanting after every wind of doctrine to try to cut up this person's doctrine or this person's doctrine. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of stuff wrong all the time. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, you have to ask yourself this one particular question. If you say you got the Ruach and God gave you the word and you had it wrong the first time, you mean to tell me he gave you a wrong word, but he caught himself and gave you a right word on the back end? Now, who's to say he gave that you got the right word now? That's dangerous for my soul. Nobody pays attention to that. See, it's not a situation like you had with Saul, who became Paul. Paul didn't know that the book was about this man and were persecuting people. You understand? These people have teachings and be dead wrong and have to revamp everything they teaching. Or these dudes will know they wrong, but they're not going to tell you they wrong because they don't want to have the embarrassment of standing in front of you and say everything that I taught was wrong. So they'll sit there and they'll tell you something and they know it's wrong and they not going to say nothing. And they're going to let you walk away with bad information. You see what I'm saying? And they know it's bad information. Now you could take them words and you could do with it what you will. But this is what's going on because your soul is on the line. The soul is on the line. It's not a popularity club. This ain't there. Let's walk hand in hand. Your life on the line. You have to be dead serious about this. This is your soul. When you stand before that throne, that man ain't gonna be asking you about nothing other than what's written in that book. Ain't gonna be no excuses given. Ain't gonna be no conversation. Ain't gonna be no reasoning. You don't need to be playing with your life. But come over here to Jeremiah 7, man. As fourth is the Jeremiah chapter 7, man. You can pick it up at verse 1. When you're dealing with a lot of, as fourth is quote unquote Israelite or Jewish thought, they believe the whole world centered around the temple of Yahuwah. But this is not something that Yahuwah said, because Yahuwah never asked for a temple to be built. If you recall, that's what he told David. He said, I never asked y'all to do that. He said, I never asked for a place to dwell. Because most of the time we looking at things carnally, and you're transmuting onto Yahuwah your thought process. Yahuwah never held the temple of Yahuwah in the same regard as you did. And why would he? Matter of fact, before I read Jeremiah 7, coming to Isaiah 66, he tried to let you know that right here. I think we missed and read it yesterday when we were talking about that. But look at Isaiah 66 and 1. He tried to let you know this right here. Isaiah 66 and 1. Thus saith Yahuwah, Shamahim, my throne, the Arats, my footstool. Where is the house that you build unto me? Where is the place of my rest? For all those have my hand made, and all those have been, saith Yahuwah. But to this will I look, a poor and of a contrite ruach that tremble at my word. Absolutely, Omar, absolutely. So he letting you know right now. And remember, when we were talking about the priesthood of Melchizedek, come over here to Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 1. We'll touch that after this Isaiah 66. We're going to go look at 2 Chronicles chapter 6 and what Solomon said when he was sanctifying the temple. Let me ask y'all this question. He said, that's how we know that they're going to go ahead and build another temple. Yeah, that's a man thing. That ain't got nothing to do with Yahuwah. Yahuwah never cared about a temple. Never cared about that. You care about that. Yahuwah never cared about animal sacrifices. You care about that. He never cared about that. Because he tell you right in the same chapter, Jeremiah chapter 7 that we holding. That man said, I never spoke to your fathers. He said, man, pick your sacrifices up and eat flesh. He said, I never spoke to your fathers about offerings and sacrifices. I told them to obey my voice. He don't care about that. You care about that. Where I said I was going there? Oh, I forgot already. Oh, Hebrews chapter 8. Praise you. Hebrews 8 and 1. Peace, champion man. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 1. Now the things which we have spoken, the sum, we have such a high priest who is set on the right hand of the throne of majesty in Shamayim, and minister of the sanctuary and of the true tabernacle, which the Lord pitched and not man. A lot of people are more concerned with a tabernacle that was made with man's hands versus a tabernacle that's been made by the hands of Elohim. And that's our biggest mistake. That's our biggest mistake. Because if you're dealing with a tabernacle that's made from Elohim, you're dealing with something that is eternal. We be focused on temporal things, and we make those temporal things to be of greater importance than Yahuwah ever made them. Because if you know Leviticus 26, he said he was his desire to dwell amongst you, which Paul wrote about in 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And we can look at that also. Peace, Brother Marvin, man. Come over here to 2 Chronicles chapter 6. Don Joanne, get off my counter. Make sure I'm in the right place for y'all, man. Hey. 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 12. Don't be quiet. Really, she's a child. What are you expecting her to do? She's a child. What are you expecting her to do? She don't know what a knife is. Second Chronicles 6 and 12. And he stood before the altar of Yahuwah in the presence of all the congregation of Yasharal and spread forth his hands, For Solomon had made a brazen scaffold, 5 cubits long, 5 cubits broad, 3 cubits high, set it in the midst of the court, and upon it he stood and kneeled down upon his knees before all the congregation of Yasharal and spread forth his hands toward Shamahim and said, O Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal, no Elohim, oh, that page slice, oh my Lord, today, like you in Shamahim nor in Arats, which keep covenant, mercy unto your servants that walk before you with all their hearts. You have kept with your servant David, my Abba, with which have promised him, and spake with your mouth and have fulfilled with your hand as this day. Now therefore, Yahuwah Elohim Yasharal, keep with your servant David, my father, that which you have promised him, saying, there shall not fail you a man in my sight to sit upon the throne of Yasharal, yet so that your sons take heed to their way to walk in my law, as you have walked before me. And now then, O Yahuwah Elohim Yasharal, let your word be verified, which you have spoken unto your servant David. But will Elohim in very deed dwell with men on the earth? Behold, Shamahim and the Shamahim of Shamahims cannot contain you. How much less this house which I have built? Now, when we were having a conversation earlier, this is what the gentleman said, right? He said that the law was only from Adam to Moses. And that once the temple was destroyed, he said the law is only needed when God is dwelling with man. So once the temple was destroyed, God's not dwelling with man, therefore there is no law. That's absolutely and utterly insane. But it's utterly insane for one reason and one reason alone. Elohim always dwelt with man. It's just he didn't dwell with man in the aspect that you thinking he dwelt. See, he thinking he dwelt based off the time in the wilderness in the tabernacle of the congregation. You thinking he dwelt as forth as with the mercy seat in the temple and in the tabernacle of the congregation. And the first point was with Adam in the garden. But I want you to look at what Yahuwah said himself in Leviticus 26, which I referenced so you can see it for yourself. And then we can look in 2 Corinthians, chapter 7. Let me get over there and we can make sun shape. I want to say verse 7 is what we need. Leviticus 26 and 7 is what we're going to need more than likely. No. We get straight on to the point. Verse 9. Leviticus 26 and 9. Bazooka, what's happening, my G? He said, for I have respect unto you and make you fruitful and multiply you and establish my covenant with you. And you shall eat old store and bring forth the old because of the new. And I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. And I will walk among you and will be your Elohim, and you shall be my people. You know what I'm talking about? Now, when you see this, it has always been Yahuwah's desire to dwell with you. Now, come over to 2 Corinthians 7, because this is going to make the Jeremiah 7 make a little bit more sense. 2 Corinthians chapter 7. I said 7, it's chapter 6. Everybody know about 2 Corinthians chapter 6, because most people use a particular piece of verbiage in there out of the context of what the verbiage is actually trying to impart. You can start at verse 14. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14. Be you not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship have righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion have light with darkness? Everybody likes to talk about, I want to be equally yoked. And they try to make that fit everything in life. When literally this text is talking about not being unequally yoked with unbelievers, because it would take you to Deuteronomy 7 when he told you, do not marry these nations because they'll make you stop following me and you'll go after their gods. You would be unequally yoked. What communion do you have with an idolater? You would have learned that by watching what happened with Ahab and Jezebel. You would have learned that from what happened with Solomon and his wives. You've seen that when Ezra pulled out his own beard because even the leaders of the people were fooling with the daughters of Moab, and you commit the trespass by fooling with nations who going to cause you to worship their gods. Remember, the whole aspect of him telling you not to fool with these people for no other reason because they were idolaters. And as Paul mentioned in 1 Corinthians 15, you know what I'm talking about? Evil communications corrupt good manners. Shalom, Ernest, man. Some of you have not the knowledge of Elohim. I speak this to your shame. I don't care how strong you think you are. I don't care how wise you think you are. How studious and a vast amount of understanding that you perceive you may have. When this text is telling you that evil communications corrupt good manners, When you have examples of a man who was wiser than every last one of us in this house, in this stream, and on this clubhouse room, put together, multiplied by 1,000,000, if he could get corrupted by people who were had evil communications, what chance do you think you have to overcome that? If a man wiser than all of us fell victim to it? You know what I'm saying? That's something that you have to consider. You have to pay attention to that. See, I was just listening to some brothers, and really it was funny to me as far as how they were communicating. But they were expressing something that I've been told y'all. That these Hebrew dudes sit around each other and they know the wickedness that these niggas are privy to, and they don't say nothing. Then when somebody say something, now you hating on me, you speaking on my business, when you know that you was living contrary to what it is that you profess when you sit in front of these people. And we love it so. You know what I'm talking about? Man, that junk ain't what's happening, man. You're not supposed to sit by and know dudes wicked as the day is long and don't say nothing. And I'm not talking about saying something about getting on no Facebook post or making no YouTube. I ain't talking about none of that weirdo stuff right there, man. That ain't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about nobody says nothing to these people. Nobody says nothing to these people. I've seen a bunch of people, man, going in about this young lady who in the word, who got convicted of murder and didn't have any information on what was going on with this woman. None. Didn't know nothing. Seeing people talking about humiliation ritual, these white folks doing this. Bro, you don't even know anything about what's going on to even speak on that. Because you shouldn't have messed with it. You don't know nothing about it. And you know why I mention that? Because what did the Lord tell you in John 7? Don't judge according to appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Don't get it. Get from over there. If you don't have information on something, don't make no judgment. Hold your peace. The book tells you don't run after a false matter. If you don't know, why do you feel the need to say something? See, one of the things that we like to do is we like to play victim to the circumstances of which you created from the sins of which you partook in. And you want somebody to feel sorry for you. No, man. You can't play victim when you wrong. Do you not know it tell you that in Peter? 1 Peter chapter 2, to be specific. He said, man, if you done nothing wrong and you suffer persecution, he say, happy are you. But if you get buffeted for your faults, what thank have you? That's not to your benefit because you getting bust upside your head and you wrong. Why do you think that you wrong, that there's not supposed to be consequences when you wrong? That man said he by no means clears. Just because you say, I repent and I'm sorry, does not absolve you from punishment and consequences from the choices that you make. David killed the man. Yahuwah forgave him and killed his baby. David took a man's wife. Yahuwah took his. You send a man out to war, Yahuwah say the sword to be in yours. David ain't complain man time nor play the victim. You know why? Because my choices and decisions dictated that this is the punishment that come upon my head. And as a man, I got to take that. I have to take that. That's the consequences of my actions. I have to deal with that. Because my choices led me to this situation and circumstance. And that's what a man do. He take accountability for the consequences of his actions. You can't be wallowing around here playing victim. Don't nobody respect that. Nobody respects it. Every man on here knows it. Every man on here knows it. You want to play the victim to the consequences of what you created? Ain't nobody respecting you. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody respecting that. And that's what a lot of brews like to do. You want to play the victim because you stupid. You know what I'm saying? No, because you stupid. You have bad decision making. And then you want to teach me the word? I wish I would. 2 Corinthians 6 and 15, man. What concord have Mashiach with Belial? What part have he that believe with an infidel? And what agreement have the temple of Elohim with idols? For you are the temple of the living Elohim. As Elohim have said, I will dwell in them and walk in, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. I will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. You see how he just said what we read in Leviticus 26? That's what he was referring to. That you're the house of God, and he wants to dwell in you. He don't want to dwell in brick and mortar. He said, even in our ignorance, we face God's consequences and destructions. Grace is a transform our faith. Amen. Shalom said, man. You listen. Like, that's just a reality of life. I done told you that plenty of times, man. I was raised that way. I heard that every day of my childhood, to accept the consequences and take responsibility for the consequences of your actions. I heard that repeatedly, day by day, day by day, day by day, day by day, day by day. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it is. So when I got in the word and read the word, it wasn't a foreign concept to me because I was raised that way. You know what I'm saying? When we get in the word, you feel like his mercy, his grace, I repent, I'm sorry, Father, forgive me, should absolve you from the consequences of your actions. Just because your sin get forgiven does not mean that you will not be punished when your law clearly says this is how he operates. He said he by no means clears. By no means. There is no clearing of the guilty. Do you understand that? Who instructs and raises a child and teaches them like that? So I was just talking to someone about this the other day. We got freedom to make decisions and choices. Absolutely. But you don't get to choose the outcome of those decisions. You definitely do not. Because it's only so much of your choices and decisions of the outcome that you can control. But look, who raises a child by in reinforcing bad behavior? You know what I'm saying? Or misbehavior, if you would. Because I don't believe in calling a child bad. You call a child bad, they'll encapsulate that mentally and they will believe it. And that can become their identity. And they just will believe that they were bad. And the choices that they make and the self-view of themselves can be through that lens. It's just, hey, you're misbehaving. You're not conducting yourself properly. This is not behavior becoming of someone who professes godliness. When you do that, you're reinforcing that there's a standard that they're not meeting so they can strive to meet it. You know what I'm saying? It's just easy, he being bad. What does that do? How does that reinforce a standard? How do they let them know that they're missing the mark? What does that do for them? It does nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't even realize that even in the things that you say, there's an opportunity for instruction. There's an opportunity for correction. There's an opportunity for motivation, for elevation. You know what I'm saying? We don't think about those things. You know what I'm talking about? And when you pay attention, when Yahuwah speak, he speak like that. Now, sometimes he just told straight down, you niggas evil. But this is based off your conduct. And you needed to be told that. You know what I'm saying? But that's another conversation for another day. But you don't reinforce bad behavior by absolving that behavior with no consequence. Because all that tells the child is that I can behave any way I want and I don't have to deal with anything that comes from that. So what would be the impetus for them to change their behavior? There isn't any. This is why people believe that Christianity is such a dangerous religion. But in reality, Israelites teach and say the same thing. They just use different verbiage. But you're still arriving to the same destination. Nevertheless, verse 17, wherefore come out from among them and be you separate, say the Lord, and touch not the unclean, and I will receive you. And I will be an Abba unto you, and you shall be my sons and daughters, saith Yahuwah Almighty. Now, we went through all of that to establish the fact that he wants to dwell in you. So when you come to Jeremiah chapter 7, this will maybe help you understand why he is so adamant in the statements that he's about to make through the prophet. Hey, cut it out. Cut it out. Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah from Yahuwah saying, stand in the gates of Yahuwah's house and proclaim there this word, and say, hear the word of Yahuwah, all Yehudah, that enter in at his gates to worship Yahuwah. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, amend your ways and your doings, and I will cause you to dwell in this place. Trust you not in lying words, saying the temple of Yahuwah, the temple of Yahuwah, the temple of Yahuwah are these. For if you thoroughly amend your doing, your ways and your doings, if you thoroughly execute judgment between man and his neighbor, if you oppress not the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, and shed not innocent blood in this place, neither walk after other gods to your hurt, then I will cause you to dwell in this place, in the land that I gave to your fathers forever and ever. Behold, you trust in lying words that cannot profit. Will you steal, murder, and commit adultery, and swear falsely, burn incense unto Baal, walk after other gods whom you know not, and come stand before me in this house which is called by my name, and say we are delivered to do all these abominations? Is this house which is called by my name become a den of robbers in your eyes? Behold, I have seen, saith Yahuwah. But go you now into my place which was in Shiloh, where I set my name at the first, and see what I did to it for the wickedness of my people, Yasharal. See, oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Listen, a lot of brothers don't read or even talk about that house in Shiloh that he destroyed for the same reason that this temple got destroyed. Now, we talked about this during this, talking about this priesthood of Melchizedek, that the temple was destroyed for a different reason than what people think about. I want you to come to look at something else just to refresh your mind with this. I lost my train of thought. Come over here to Chronicles. 2 Chronicles chapter 7. Baruch Yedidah, man. Second Chronicles chapter 7. Make sure I'm in the right place. Yes, sir. 7 and 16. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 16. And listen, what we're about to look at, I'll show you the difference between the first Adam and the second Adam, the Levitical priesthood and the priesthood of Melchizedek, the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the tree of life. What do we mean by that? First Adam was made of the earth, earthy. The Levitical priesthood dealt with an earthly tabernacle and sacrifices of bulls and goats. Tree of knowledge of good and evil, of course, is the law, which ministers condemnation and death. Nothing wrong with any of these things. They're all esteemed. But now you're dealing with the second Adam, which is of heaven, heavenly, eternal. Then you're dealing with the priesthood of Melchizedek, which is a commandment after endless life. Then you're dealing with the tree of life that produces everlasting life. I want you to keep these elements in your mind in this contrast about what to read in 2 Chronicles chapter 7. And then we're going to slide to John chapter 2. Y'all know it's in John 2, but we just going to put that on record for precept's sake. And then we're going to slide and take a look at Haggai. Now, you heard what he said what the temple of Yahuwah was. Notice that he didn't say anything about a building. He said about amending your ways, about executing justice and judgment, about not shedding innocent blood, basically being Yahuwah Elohim, merciful, gracious, abundant in goodness and truth, long-suffering. That's the temple of Yahuwah. Him. It was never about a building made out of stones. Man made that important because man believed God dwelt there. God never dwelt in that place. He didn't need that place to dwell. He was always seeking to dwell with you. But nobody talks about that because these niggas don't really believe the word for real. Like I said, everybody be on doctrine. You can't never go wrong if you just preach faith in Yahuwah and holiness. How you going to go wrong? You can't. You know why? Because everything is going to be about esteeming Yahuwah. Everything is going to be about bringing honor and esteem to Elohim, that souls may be converted unto him and that man be made perfect. Niggas don't care about that. They don't care about that. They may sprinkle that into their conversation, but that's not what they care about. And you know how we know they don't care about it? Because it doesn't show up in how they live their life. I had to tell somebody today the same thing I told y'all last week. Because that's what this dude, he called his sister, we know he called out a name. Called her a dark-faced Mitch, among other things. And when he slid his funky behind around there, I was talking to somebody. I stopped what I was saying to tell him, you can get your funky behind from around here. And he was like, where's the godliness in that? And that's what niggas get the game twisted. This is how I know niggas not godly. This is how I know niggas not perfect. Because you niggas want to be fake, phony, and flawed with people you know are wicked and you don't fool with. Because you don't know how to love somebody without being intertwined with them intimately and personally. You don't know how to show love to somebody who you don't fool with, or show love to somebody who's deemed you an enemy, or maybe even show love to somebody that you deemed an enemy. You don't know how to do that. You don't know how to be merciful and loving to somebody you don't fool with because they cross somebody who you love. You don't know how to do that. So you'll read Matthew 5 where he say, hey, with what thank have you if you salute your friends and not your enemies too? You don't know what that means because you can't encapsulate that, so you just decide I'm going to be fake. You just decided I'm going to act like I like you when I know that I don't. I'm going to tell you I don't fool with you and then show you the love of God so you can know that you can go to hell. Not that I'm telling you that you can go to hell, but based off your conduct and the heart you got, that you know you going to hell because I just told you I don't fool with you, but yet showed the mercy and love of God towards you, not seeking anything in return, not looking for your praise, because that's the mind that he gives us when you lay his word up in your heart with understanding and it brings forth the fruit. You're going to manifest him because when we were his enemies, walking in all manner of wickedness and darkness, alienated from the truth and love of God in every type way, he still extended love and mercy to you when you were his enemy. So if you can see the pattern of him doing that towards you, it should be nothing for you to manifest that back to another. Because when you was whoremongering and fornicating, when you was getting drunk telling lies, when you was worshiping idols, when you were full of maliciousness and spitefulness and all manner of strife and contention and malignity and all manner of ungodliness, that man showed mercy and compassion to you and you ain't deserve it. He ain't fool with you because you didn't fool with him. And it doesn't matter if you did it in ignorance or not. You didn't fool with him. He didn't fool with you, but yet he still showed mercy unto you. Because you don't know that you actually doing that might cause them to actually turn to God and live godly instead of being fake all the time. No, just simple. I don't fool with you though. Now I'm talking about somebody got to really cross you for you to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? It has to be according to what Matthew 18 tells you. That there was an art. You went to him one-on-one. That didn't work. You went and got 2 and 3 witnesses. That didn't work. You took them to the whole assembly. That didn't work. Then you can treat them like a heathen man and a publican. And I'm talking about an actual art, not feelings, not what you perceive, that somebody actually trespassed against you. Because a lot of brothers in this word, they be going off feelings. I feel like this. I think he meant this. No, that's not what that man talking about. You can take that, flush that down the toilet. I'm talking about this man did something to you. He committed a trespass against you. Not you didn't like what he said. That's not a trespass against you, man. Ain't no text in here talking about you can cut a nigga off because you didn't like what he said or you didn't like how he said it. Man, get out your feelings, cuz. Stand up, put your boxers on, man. Take them doggone panties off, cuz. You a man. If you don't like what the man said, sit down and have a conversation with him about it. There's too many grown people who filter words through their emotions instead of hearing what's being said to them. You're too old for it. That's what you do when you're in your 20s. You once you start creeping to your 30s, man, come on, man, you have to start being a mature adult and hearing what's being said to you and not hearing based on how it made you feel. Because how things make you feel is how you'll go to hell. You're supposed to have been uncrucified your affections and lusts. That's what this book say to do. So you shouldn't be thinking or living by that. That man said you should have crucified your affections and lusts. So that means those desires, they need to be mortified. Those feelings, they need to be mortified. Yeah, they can be there, but they shouldn't be alive and thriving in you to the point that drives your decision making. That drives your reactions. Your emotions will deceive you and have you chasing away God and chasing away people who fool with you. Because if you got issues of what people done did to you that can't cause you to deal with people, you need to go get a therapist. You need to go get counseling. I tell y'all that repeatedly. You need to go get counseling. Because that's a trauma response. You got to deal with that. And a lot of people deal with that, man. You don't want to look up, man, when and older you ain't got nobody around because you ran them away because of what somebody did to you when you were 23. You know what I'm saying? Because that dude treated you wrong when you were 21. Or that chick did you like this when you were 17. Or your parents did you, or whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about? I get it, though. But you know you need to go do something about that. There's a lot of things that we do that you're pushing people away. And it's really in my brain because Boopy was watching some show last night. What'd you say the name of that show was? She can't hear me. But Reasonable Doubt. That's what it's called, Reasonable Doubt. And the lady had issues, and with her issues, she was pushing her husband away. You know what I'm saying? That's the name of that show, wasn't it? Reasonable Doubt. Yeah, where the lady was pushing her husband away because of what she went through. Yeah. That's why that's at the forefront of my mind. Because a lot of people do that. You have a negative experience, and the people who love and care about you are trying to show you that they love and care about you. You push them away. But you want them to be there, but you want them to jump over these walls and through these hoops to prove to you that they want to be there for you. And that's not fair to people. Because most people not finna go through that. That is mentally and emotionally draining. He said it corresponds to what he said about how people blame spirits for them acting a certain way when they need a stronger mind. It do. But you got to think about, and I'm not saying that as a means to diminish whatever negative situation you experienced in your life. But you can't allow negative experiences in your life to define who you are, and also to affect your relationships in your present and possibly in your future. So you have to go deal with that. Because somebody may love you, somebody may care about you, but they're not going to be trying to, you keep putting this brick wall up and this brick wall up. If they jump over this wall, then I know they love me. Man, ain't nobody going to keep doing that. Ain't nobody going to keep swinging sledgehammers to knock your walls down. You need to knock them down. You need to go find a counselor and knock them down yourself. I shouldn't have to jump over walls to love you. I shouldn't have to run through fiery hoops to love you. I shouldn't have to do that. Why I got to do all this work to prove myself to you? No, that's not fair. And most people not going to do it. And then that's when we had a response. See, I told you don't nobody love me. No, man, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, people loved you, but you ran them away. Yeah, you ran them away. Yeah, you ran them away. Because that's what that lady finna do to that man on that TV show. That nigga gonna leave. You know what I'm talking about? He gonna leave. That's just something to consider, man. It doesn't make you a bad person. It doesn't mean you're immature. Some negativity that's affecting your life now. And that's why when something negative happens to you, you need to go get some counseling, man, so you don't have to keep dealing with that for the next 10 years. Because I put it to you this way: if all of us were effective with processing and dealing with negative situations, then those thought processes and feelings wouldn't be popping up 5 to 10 to 15 years after it happened. That means you can't deal with it. You need some help. Don't make you less of a person. You know what I'm saying? And you have to drop that stigma that they make you less of a person. I should figure this out. Or we'll say, well, I got the word. And you who also told you there's safety in counselors, man. You can't be in your pride and just sit there and stewing something that is mentally sucking all the air out of your soul. You know what I'm talking about? Because you're dealing with some stuff that happened to you in 2013. It's 2024. You've been dealing with this for 11 years. You ain't tired of dealing with it? But hey, you can do what you want. Joanne, hush your mouth. 2 Chronicles 7 and 16. For now have I chosen and sanctified this house, that my name may be there forever. My eyes and my heart shall be there perpetually. And as for you, if you will walk before me as David your Abba walked, and do according to all that I've commanded you, you shall observe my statutes and judgments. Then will I establish the throne of your kingdom according as I have covenanted with David your Abba, saying, there shall not fail a man, ruler in Yasharal. But if you turn away and forsake my statutes and my covenants, which I set before you, and shall go and serve other gods and worship them, then will I pluck them up by the roots out of my land, which I have given them in this house, which I have sanctified for my name. I will cast out my sight and make it a proverb and a byword among all nations. And this house which is high shall be an astonishment, everyone that passed by it, so that he shall say, why have Yahuwah done this unto this land and unto this house? And it shall be answered, because they forsake Yahuwah Elohim of their Abbas, which brought them forth out of the land of Mizraim, and laid hold on other gods and worshiped them and served them. Therefore he has brought all this evil upon them. This is why he destroyed the first temple. That is not why he destroyed the second. Does anybody recall why he destroyed the second, based off what we were able to ascertain according to the scriptures in the epistle letters and the gospels? Does anybody remember why he tore down the second temple? He tore down the first one because we were sinning. I'm going to give you astonishment real quick, if I can find it. There it is. When we look at the word astonishment, it is shaman. Sham, mean. Is to be desolate, to be appalled, to stun, to stupefy, to be deserted, to be desolate, to be awestruck, to lay desolate, to cause ruin. So when you see this house, it will be brought to ruin. And everybody that passed by will say, why has this happened? Of course, if you know about byword and the proverb, if you don't know, I know you're dealing with a lot of brews, you done heard about it before. You know, proverb is mashal. Byword is shiana, shan, mean, noon, and hey, excuse me. Sharp word, a taunt. Nobody has a response. That's unfortunate. So listen. He's going to make this house desolate. He's going to make it a taunt. Come over here to John chapter 2. Who is doing that? Yeah, please stop. Just because that's not ladylike at all. Can we have everlasting life pursuant to John chapter 2? Well, let's take a look, good sir. Let's take a look. John 2 and 13. Yes, sir. John 2 and 13. First, to answer your question, Omar, when you look at the water getting turned into wine, and you look at verse 7 of John chapter 2, before we even go any further. Yahushua said unto them, fill the water pots with water, and they filled them up to the brim. He said unto them, draw out now and bear unto the governor of the feast, and they bare. When the ruler of the feast tasted the water that was made wine, and knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew. The governor of the feast called the bridegroom. And he said unto him, every man at the beginning do set forth good wine. Every man at the beginning set forth good wine. That's Adam. That's the Levitical priesthood. That's the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It's good. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 lets you know that. It's good. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Listen what he say though. He said unto them, verse 10, John chapter 2, every man at the beginning do set forth good wine. When men have well drunk, then that which is worse. You kept the good wine unto now. He said you kept the good wine unto now. What is this good wine that's coming after? That wine that they had the first? The tree of life, the second Adam, the priesthood of Melchizedek. Because it's better. You understand? When you're talking about better, it's going to facilitate a different, what's the word I'm looking for? A different labor, if you will, a different execution, a different outcome. The outcome of the first three did not produce everlasting life. It couldn't do so. But the outcome of the second three, absolutely. Let's continue. This, the beginning of the miracles, did Yahushua in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his esteem, and his disciples believed on him. Yes, sir. And after this, he went down to Capernaum, he and his mother and his brethren and the disciples, and they continued there not many days. And the Yahudim's Passover was at hand, and Yahushua went up to Jerusalem and found in the temple those that sold oxen, sheep, and doves, and the changers of the money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple. and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out their changers' money and overthrew the tables. And he said unto them, take these things hence, make not my Abba's house a house of merchandise. And his disciples remember that it was written, the zeal of your house have eaten me up. Then answered the Yahudim and said unto him, what sign show you unto us, seeing that you do these things? Yahushua answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Then said the Yahudim, 46 years was this temple in building. Will you rear it up in 3 days? But he spake of the temple of his body. Now listen, we read it. He said that this temple would be made an astonishment and it would be made a taunt. So when we're looking at this 2 Corinthians 7, the people sinned, the house was destroyed, because it's telling you that since the people sinned, Yahushua would be destroyed. He would be representative of that house. We're going to get to that when we get to Haggai, but we're going to take it a step further. What the hell just in my mind? We're going to get there. Come over here to Matthew 26 and 62. You can make it 59. Matthew 26 and 59. And it's just because 57. It's just for them to hear the statement that he made about rebuilding this house. And they that had laid hold on, this is Matthew 26, 57. Lay hold on Yahushua, led away to Caiaphas, the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. But Peter followed him afar off into the high priest's palace and went in and sat with the servants to see the end. Now the chief priests and elders and all the council sought false witness against Yahushua to put him to death, but found none. Yea, though many false witnesses came, found they none. Peace, man. And at the last came 2 false witnesses and said, this said, I am able to destroy the temple of Elohim and build it in 3 days. Now, these people came in here with this false witness to say he said that he would do this. And I understand all these people thought he was talking about the literal temple. You would never care about the literal temple. I'm going to ask you this here since I read this with a false witness, because this conversation was had the other day. And the brother said this, and he didn't articulate it well. And they tried to say he was wrong. And then a stupid nigga came at me and talking about, was this a true witness or not? So let me ask y'all this question. When it came to Mashiach and the accusations that they made, was there an accusation that was made as it pertains to Mashiach in relation to Caesar, the king of Rome? And if it was an accusation made, what was that accusation? And even better, if you can tell me where it's written at, if there was an accusation that was made. Does anyone know? Can anyone answer that? Does anyone know? Does anyone know, was there an accusation made against the Lord as it relates to Caesar? And you would be right, sir. Let's come over here to Luke chapter 23 and 1. See, the dude said this, and they tried to clown him like he was stupid. And when I put the verse in the chat, dude was like, was it a true witness, yes or no? I say, bro, I'm not going through that with you. I'm just sharing. You asked the man for book, chapter, and verse. He read something else because clearly he don't know the word well. But this is what it says, right? Right here in Luke 23 and 1. That is correct also, Yedadiah. And the whole multitude of them arose and led them unto Pilate, and they began to accuse him. Notice that it didn't say whether it was a false witness or not. They began to accuse him. We found this fellow perverting the nation, forbidding to give tribute to Caesar, saying that he himself, a Mashiach, is a king. Now, there's another place where them people said, we have no king but who? So when they were saying this here, they were saying if he's saying he king, and they mind they saying he king above Caesar, see, we ought to kill him. See, like I said, man, people say certain things and they don't always know how to articulate the point, or they don't know where it's at in the word, they just know it's there. But people will try to clown you and manipulate you into believing that what you've seen in the text ain't there. When these people literally was like, nah, we rolling with them Romans. Let me find that verse for you where they say we ain't got no king but Caesar. And you know where this would come at from as forth as in the Old Testament about that? Do you know where that would come at in, but them saying we ain't got no king but Caesar, where that would come at in the Old Testament? Because there's a place that would come at in the Old Testament that fit right along with it. And we talked about this not too long ago. Let me see if anybody can pull that one out. You cold? Come over here to John 19. And you would be right, good sir. And you would be dead head on the money. Let me see what we John 19 and 5. Matter of fact, I'll just make it one. It ain't gonna hurt nobody. It's still gonna work with what we have to deal with. Then Pilate therefore took Yahushua and scourged. And the soldiers platted a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put on him a purple robe, and said, Hail, Malach of the Yahudim, and they smote him with their hands. Pilate therefore went forth again and said unto him, Behold, I bring him forth to you, that you may know that I find no fault in him. Then came Yahushua forth wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, and said unto them, Behold, the man. When the chief priest therefore and officers saw him, they cried out, saying, Crucify, crucify. Pilate said unto him, Take you him and crucify, for I find no fault in him. The Yahudim answered him, We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, because he made himself the son of Elohim. So let me tell you something. Yes, sir, Stanley, you be right on the head. Listen, when you say you the son of Elohim, guess what you just said? There's two things that you saying when you say you the son of Elohim, as far as them people understood and knew. Can anybody tell me what one or both of those things might be? Can anybody tell me what one or both of those things might be? If he's declaring to be the son of God, because they believe that he will blaspheme, what is he saying to these people? All this is still dealing with being free among the dead, whether you realize it or not. Because I got one more thing in these gospels to tack on the free among the dead before we get out of here, because we're going to actually get done at 9 o'clock, because we started at 7:30 on the head, as we ought to. No work delays. Making yourself God is one of them. Yes, that is correct. And you got one more. You got one more. Can anybody tell me what that one more thing is? That's indeed, Jessica. He's the God is one of them. It's one more. It's one more. We done already said it. If that'll help y'all out. God is one of them. It's one more. That he their ruler, I'll take it. You saying you king. Remember, it said Yahuwah is our king. Ain't that what it said in Psalm 24? You saying you the son of God, you saying you God and you king. That is also, but they wouldn't kill you for saying you got the Ruach, or wouldn't accuse you to take you out. They wouldn't do that. But when you stand up and say you the ruler, you the king, you got to be specific in Exodus 22. Or you saying you God, that's a violation of Leviticus, 24 and 16, and they gonna want to stone you. Hey, you need to learn how to behave. John chapter 19, verse 8. I'll read 7 again. The Yahudim answered him, We have a law, and by our law he ought to die, because he made himself the son of Elohim. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was the more afraid. And when he get into the judgment hall and said unto Yahushua, Whence are you? But Yahushua gave him no answer. Then Pilate said unto him, Speak you not unto me? Know you not that I have power to crucify you, and I have power to release you? Very well. Yahushua answered, You could have no power against me, except it were given you from above. Therefore he that delivered me unto you have the greater sin. And from henceforth Pilate sought to release him, but the Yahudim cried out, saying, If you let this man go, you are not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh himself a king, speak against Caesar. Hear what these people said, huh? Let me read it to you again. And from henceforth Pilate sought to release him, but the Yahudim cried out, saying, If you let this man go, you are not Caesar's friend. Whoso make himself a king, speak against Caesar. And when Pilate therefore heard the saying, he brought Yahushua forth and sat him down in the judgment seat in a place that is called the pavement, but in the Hebrew, Gabbatha. And it was the preparation of the Passover about the 6th hour. And he said unto the Yahudim, Behold your king. But they cried out, Away, away with, crucify him. Pilate said unto them, shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, we have no king but Caesar. They did the very same thing that they did in 1 Samuel 6 when they said that they rejected Yahuwah from ruling over them for a man. Is that not what happened in Samuel? They did the same thing because they would rather have Adam rule over them than the second Adam. They would rather have the tree of knowledge and good and evil rule over them than the tree of life. They rejected Yahuwah for a man. That's exactly what your forefathers did during the time of Samuel. Let me look at this Exodus 22 for bro, man. What you talking about? Don't revile the ruler of your people. That's what you were looking at. Yeah, that's different. That's different. Not reviling the ruler of your people pertains to those who actually have authority. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but God's in that instance, because God, one of the definitions of God is a ruler. You can see that in Acts when Paul said, you witted wall, and the dude slapped him and said, speak you against the high priest? And he said, brother, I didn't know. Because as it is written, you shall not revile the ruler of your people. That's why I always tell you, I don't care if you don't agree with somebody's doctrine or teachings. If he's an overseer or a ruler over assembly, that's not your job. Your law tells you not to do that. That's not your place. You sinning. You're not supposed to do that. I don't care if you think he's a false prophet. I don't care if you think his doctrine is bad. If he's ruling over the people, it is not your job to revile him. You let him be. That's not your job. See, we be doing stuff, so you scream the law, but then when it's time to actually make it applicable in real life situations, you do what you want to do. You do what you want to do. Because you feel like, no, I'm going to check that nigga. Who told you to do that? You told yourself to do that. That's not your job. Because unless Yahuwah sent you to go check this nigga, then what you checking him for? It never work out. Yeah.
Versus if Yahuwah wanted that.
If Yahuwah want that to happen, he gonna get checked. Dude, I know just say he got threw out of congregation because he called himself checking the people in there. Man, I've done been to several people congregations, man, to listen to them preach. Man, they done said some stupid stuff. I ain't say nothing. Ain't my job. I'm not finna stand up in the middle of these people's service. You know what I'm talking about? And be like, no, that's wrong. He ain't supposed to say that. You just made a jackass out yourself. You just made, because you thought you were doing something, but really you was just doing that out your pride and ego, trying to bring attention to yourself. I ain't got time to do that. That's not my job. That's not my job. I'm not supposed to do that. You don't read nobody in the book doing that. They didn't do none of that. Ain't nobody walk up to the high priest when he was out of pocket and say, I rebuke you, high priest. Nobody did that. That's Yahuwah. Let Yahuwah deal with him. Yahuwah deal with him. We be taking stuff upon ourselves, man, out of anger and frustration, and you feel like I'm helping the people. You don't really give a damn about the people for real. Because if you care about the people, you would do the things that he tell you to do for the people. One thing for certain, two things for sure. A false prophet going to expose itself. He going to expose itself. It ain't hard to do. You ain't got to do nothing. Do you know that Mashiach never walked around checking those scribes and Pharisees until they stepped to him? He ain't go around looking for them. He ain't go around, I'm going to step to them boys in the synagogue and embarrass them. He ain't never do that. Now, when they came to him looking for some work, he gave them what they were looking for. But he ain't never go to them talking about, I'm going to rebuke them. You literally heard this man say the scribes and Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Everything they tell you to bid and observe and do, but don't do after their works. He never told them people to disrespect them men. And he knew they were hypocrites. So why you doing it? Why you think, oh, I'm going to go check the teacher? You a goofy and a weirdo. God ain't sent you to do that. You told yourself to do that. Yeah, you told yourself to do that, and you trying to put Yahuwah's name on it to make yourself feel better about doing something off your own volition. If Yahushua himself said, beware of the leaven of the scribes and Pharisees, which is hypocrisy, and said that they were like witted sepulchres that look beautiful outwardly unto men, but inwardly are full of dead men's bones and all manner of uncleanliness, and in the same breath say they sit in Moses' seat. Whatever they tell you to do, do. Just don't live like they live. That means he's not giving you license to go disrespect them. He's not giving you license to check them, because if they sitting in Moses' seat, they're the ruler of the people, and your law said you shall not revile the ruler of your people. He didn't say you should not revile the ruler of your people if you agree with their doctrine. He didn't say you should not revile the ruler of your people if he's teaching improperly. That's not what he said. He didn't put no caveat in it. Have some decorum, respect, and honor, and let Yahuwah deal with him when he sees fit to deal with it. That's not your job. That is not your job. You know what I'm talking about? Man, I've been preaching for. That's right. He said, rebuke not an elder. And where you think he get that from? Because that's what your law say. If there's an elder in the congregation, he's the overseer. That means he's the ruler over that assembly. It is not your job to go check him. He said, and treat him as a father. If we gonna say we're gonna be in it, then you gotta be in it. Look here, man. And niggas know we had an altercation with a preacher some years ago. Man, I wanted to cuss this nigga out, like real life. Like, look here, no nigga. Never did it. Didn't even talk bad about the man. I just tell you I don't fool with him. Ain't got to do all that. That's not my job. That's not my place. You don't do that. You don't do that. That is flesh. That is emotion. That is your desires. That's not godliness. We're not worried about you. He told his apostles, leave them people alone. They blind leaders of the blind. And if they both be blind, they're going to fall in the ditch. That man said, leave them people alone. He didn't say run behind him and go check him. Yes, man. You saw what he said to do. So I don't worry about that. I don't feel the need to do that. I hear stupid people teach stupid things all the time. Do you understand how crazy you'll drive yourself if you feel like you have to check everything wrong that you hear? Who told you you needed to do that? Maybe we don't pay attention close enough to the behavior of this men in this book. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely, Joseph. Definitely extends to so many levels of society. That's not my job. I'm not concerned with the governor. I'm not concerned with the president. Because ain't none of us Jeremiah who been getting sent to many kings and nations to prophesy against them. That man is not sending you to do that. You doing that out of your own pride. Because you feel like this nigga need to be checking. I'm going to check him for his false doctrine. Man, go take a nap, man. It's raining again. I hope it don't flood tomorrow. John 19:12. And thenceforth Pilate sought to release him, but the Yahudim cried out, saying, if you let this man go. I already read that part. I'm sorry. We actually done. I'm sorry. Come over here to Haggai. Haggai chapter 2. And I know I done told y'all that before, but it's only because he mentioned asked if Exodus 22 and 28 went to that. So that's why we discussed it. Haggai chapter 2, you can make it verse 1. Because we have to, you gotta be representative of godliness everywhere that you go. Not representative of godliness when it's convenient for you. Like even a Christian pastor, I'm not stepping to no Christian pastor checking him. I'm not doing it. And I don't care what race he is. I'm not doing it. Certainly not. Now I know some people be like, well, Paul checked Peter. Man, them apostles, that's a whole different type of conversation. That's a whole different type of conversation. And that wasn't checking him like this here, man. He was checking him based on his conduct. Not what he was teaching, his conduct. We be wanting to check people about what they teaching. That's not my job. Dudes be posted up talking about we gonna check these Christian people. Like, what are you out there for? What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, ask yourself this question. You really think Yahuwah put it in your heart to step to the pastor and check him? You really think he did that when you don't see him doing that with nobody else? Where you see him doing that at? This is not about pastor worship, because you shouldn't be worshiping no man. If you worshiping your this ain't about the pastor can't do no wrong. So on, Sister Kelly. It's not about that either. It's about if you see he out of pocket, it's a way how you go about that. And if you can't go about that, you do what the word says, and then you go about your business. Because I can't be concerned with what this man is doing. If the book say to do this, and this is what he showed me, I'm going to do what the book say. But I ain't going to do what I know he doing. That's if he is the ruler of the assembly that you're a part of. Now, if you know this nigga is super wicked and super false, then you need to leave. You don't need to go checking. You need to leave. You need to get from around there. If somebody asks you, well, why you left the congregation, then you tell them. You don't have to talk bad about the man. You ain't got to run the man down. All you got to do is say, hey, this was going on. This is what I seen. I left. Be an adult. You don't have to down talk and run down any and everybody once you separate from somebody. Man, you can just say, hey, this is what it was. I had to go. My soul on the line. That's it. You say, I seen that video when IUIC was at Geno Church. I showed my old lady that jump. Man, I was like, man, I wouldn't dare be out there. I wouldn't dare be out there. Nobody could convince me to go stand out there and do that. Haggai 2:1. In the 7th, in the 20th of the month, came the word of Yahuwah by the prophet Haggai, saying, speak now to Zerubbabel, the son of Shalafiah, governor of Yehuda, to Yahusha, the son of Jehozadak, the high priest, and to the residue of the people, saying, who left among you saw this house in her first esteem? How do you see it now? Not in your eyes. In comparison of it, it's nothing. Yeah, most of them, absolutely there is. And I mean, people do videos about it, but certain stuff you ain't got, because they not rebuking him. What they're really doing is they're making videos for content. Because if you was going to rebuke him, then you got to go rebuke him straight to his face. And there's still a way to do that. But with certain stuff, all you would have to mention is, hey, it's a level of hypocrisy going on here. 1, 2, and 3. You don't have to mention him. You don't have to make the video about him. You can just, because it really could be a 5 to 10 minute video, to be 100% honest with you. Hey, this man is doing this right here. The words say this right here. Be advised. Whatever he's telling you to do, what his words say do that. What his actions doing, don't do that. But then a lot of times it be people who are not even members of that organization. So they speaking on things from second and third hand. Certain things ain't even being established from 2 or 3 witnesses. Some stuff just be hearsay. So we have to be careful with dealing with that. Now, some stuff we heard Dow say himself. So we can take that for what it is and just let that be what it is. It's the same token like it's a lot of preachers who I believe are wholeheartedly preaching wise, they're trash. I'm not going to get on the stream and say that. Like, I'm not going to call their name out and say that. There's no need for me to do that. You know what I'm saying? If we one-on-one talking, I'll be like, yeah, I heard the dude teaches, he sucks. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just a certain way that based off, because I preach how to operate, you don't do that. Because some stuff will look at like you trying to use this person to elevate yourself. Now, I'm not saying some of those men who made those rebuke videos did that. One of them who did comes to mind. But most of them, they felt like, hey, this stuff going on, we want to talk about this. But truth be told, the stuff that they were talking about that man, that stuff had got put out there 10 years ago. Like that wasn't new information as far as what they was accusing him of, as far as committing adultery. That wasn't even new information. You know what I'm saying? Everybody already knew that. But it's certain stuff that what would be the best thing to do is like what the Lord did. Hey, what these people got going on, don't do that. But if they're telling you to do what the words say do that. That's why y'all never came on here and heard us talking about other organizations and preachers by name. or these people are doing this, or these people are wicked, or this preacher's doing this. We're never going to do that because there's no need to do it. There's no need to do it. Especially if you're a part, like if somebody who was a part of that organization, I wouldn't tell them to go rebuke that man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if you part of that organization, he telling you do what the book say, do what the book say. Just don't do what he's doing. And if what he's doing is a problem for you, leave. Because my homeboy called me when he was staying in Goshen, and he was like, this going on, this going on, this going on. I said, well, bro, I can't speak to none of that because I'm not there. So ain't much I can tell you. You know what I'm talking about? But what I can tell you is this. If it is as bad as you says it is, then leave. You know what I'm saying? You got to talk bad about nobody. Really, more so is there's no need for us to be disrespectful. There's a proper way for these things to be done. You know what I'm saying? And we usually don't handle those things in the way that he say to handle those things. You know what I'm saying? And I know it's because of the time period we live in. You got the internet. People are, hey, I'm going to make a video. I'm going to expose this person, this, that, there, and the third. It's not my job to expose anybody. Like I said, people expose themselves every day. Like if you really follow a preacher and like he'll expose himself if he's out of pocket. Ain't nobody got to say nothing. You know, just like I know him, it's enough videos to where you could already see what type of time he on without anybody saying a word. If you're watching, if you're paying attention, you know what I'm saying? We're like, yeah, that's not going to work for me. You know what I'm talking about? Because if I was a part of that organization and if XYZ was going on and it was accurate that what was going on, I'm not going to check him. I'm going to just leave. I ain't going to have nothing negative to say about him. But while I'm there, I'm going to subject myself unto him like the word tell me to do. I'm not going to disrespect him. I'm not going to say, you wicked bastard, you doing. Not doing none of that. I ain't going to leave and make videos about him because I don't really respect that from dudes who are there. If you didn't have the heart to look him in his face and say it, why you going to get in front of a camera and say it? Just go ahead and say it to him as a man. But if you're not going to say it to him in his face, then don't talk about it at all. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Yeah, I'm not finna make no video when I could have said it to you myself. That don't make sense to me. Because what it ends up getting into, Emma, is it starts traveling down the road of entertainment. And it's not for every person who makes a rebuke video, but it starts traveling down that road. That now these videos are for clicks and views and ad revenue. You know what I'm saying? And only the person who makes the video can say for sure that that's what their intent is. But yeah, ain't no need for it. Ain't no need for it. All you have to do is rebuke the teachings. If the teachings is sour, you don't have to rebuke them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us get caught up on, I want to rebuke him. And I ain't gonna say that for every individual, but a lot of these dudes be wanting the audience and the notoriety that some of these men have. Not every man, but a lot of them do. They be wanting the audience that these men have. Unfortunately, this business, if you would, has become a business of fame and notoriety, unfortunately. And that's what most of these men are chasing. My God, today. Where I'm at with it. Haggai chapter 2, verse 4. Yet now be strong, O Zerubbabel, saith Yahuwah, and be strong, O Yahushua, son of Jehozadak, the high priest, and be strong, all you people of the land. Saith Yahuwah, and work, I with you, saith Yahuwah of hosts. The word that I covenanted with you when you came out of Mizraim, so my Ruach remain among you, fear you not. It says it's bad because you can come to a point where you become the thing that you're rebuking. It can't happen like that because it's a fine line. Like rebuking somebody who's a ruler over the people, it's a fine line of doing it how you're supposed to do it and being dead wrong. And most people be more on the we out of pocket side. You know what I'm saying? Because the case in point, right? They was accusing that man of adultery. Now, for us, see, and this will come in with what teachings people hold or where that come in at, right? So most Israelites don't don't hold to no divorce and remarriage while your spouse is alive, save for fornication, as the Lord said. Most believe that you can divorce and remarry as often as you want. So they're not going to see an issue. He holds that stance. So me coming to this man and say, I'm going to rebuke you for marrying this man's wife and he's still alive, it wouldn't matter because it would fall into a scriptural debate because he don't hold to that. He don't hold to that. A lot of brothers don't pay attention to that. He don't believe that. So unless he stepped to you like the scribe stepped to the Lord and he checked them, checking him on that is irrelevant because he don't believe in that anyway. So he gonna look at it like, hey, she divorced her husband, she got with me, it ain't no problem with it. You know what I'm saying? What effective rebuke can you have if you have an audience of people and all of them don't hold to that? Some do, some don't. But see, that's what I mean with a fine line, because we would have to consider that. Because I would need to know if he had, because for him, that's not hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? Most of us will look at it, that's wrong. And it is. According to how we understand and believe the word. But to him, it's not. It's the same token that we don't promote or deal with multiple wives, but they do. So if you came to rebuke him and say this is wrong, all it's going to end up in is in a scriptural battle, because he's going to present to how he's right. Now, instead of actually getting in a rebuke, y'all actually are battling doctrines. See, I'm going to prove you're wrong. I'm going to prove you wrong. What did this prove? What was the fruit of that? Because this man doesn't believe that this is a sin, or this is an error, or this is not Kadash. That's what I mean by it's a fine line. Because how can you rebuke somebody who don't believe they're wrong according to their interpretation of the text? You can't. You can't. And then you end up getting what we get on all these platforms, which is YouTube videos, battling doctrines, clubhouse debates, Facebook debates. That's all we're going to get. And then it gets lost. The rebuke gets lost because now it's delved into entertainment, because the people are only tuning in to see the next response video. Now, Emma, I know that's not what you're doing, but you're in a different stage in your life where you wouldn't be seeking entertainment from that type of content. But most of these brews, that's what they're looking for. They're looking to hear the back and forth for their own entertainment. You know what I'm saying? And what you looking at it for gets lost in translation. So that's the best way that I could put that. Because in those two matters that most of those videos were made, rebuking him, he don't believe he wrong. He don't teach the word that way. You know what I'm saying? So that's why most of those videos were spent teaching against what he believes to be correct. And that's not a genuine rebuke at that point. If they're blind leaders of the blind, leave them alone. Because a rebuke is saying, hey man, I seen you over there at the Grove worshiping an idol god. Stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? There's no doctrine that we're going to have to debate to prove that you're wrong. Hey, that behavior is wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? Which is what I just seen some dudes talking about with another dude. Like, you, amen right there, man. Young, you ain't told no story, too many debates and not sold and say, absolutely, my G. Absolutely. You say that's the like when Jotham speaks to Israel and only rebukes the ones that know Amalek is wicked but follow him anyway, not the people who true. Yeah, most definitely. But that's the best way to put that, because I know, because we didn't talk about it. So that's why I can go ahead and mention it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because, yeah, like me, like I would just use me and not speak to him. If I was to rebuke him, it would be fruitless because he doesn't hold to what we hold to. And I was telling my homeboy this in Connecticut earlier today. Son, I done told plenty of y'all. I don't get caught up in what other congregations do because that ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't. Like, I would tell them, because, you know, some congregations got their rules or this, that, there, and the third. Like, you know, most of our women don't wear pants. I'm not going to look at you crazy if you got some on. If you pull up with some, I ain't going to look at this wicked woman with her jeans on. Nah. And I'm not going to say nothing to you about why you got them on or why you wear this, or I don't care. Whatever you do at your congregation, bro, that's what you do. We don't do that. I'm not going to look at you any type of way. I'm not going to talk about you. I'm not going to allow anybody to talk about you if I catch wind. I don't care. Because I ain't got nothing to do with what you do over there. This is what we do over here. You can agree with it. You cannot agree with it. I'm not going to treat you any differently because that junk is minutia. It's minute. Who gives a damn? You know what I'm saying? So I know that the mass majority of brews don't all believe and do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? That's something that as a collective, we have to understand that. You can't sit back and always want to look at somebody sideways, excuse me, because they don't believe or do the same thing that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And that's where a lot of these debates and frictions come from. Oh, he don't believe how I believe, but he's not doing what I'm doing, so I'm going to rebuke him. His doctrine is not the same as my doctrine, so I'm going to rebuke him. I ain't got time for that. I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? I don't got time for that. I just don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? Is it okay with pastors with large platforms to rebuke a person in the congregation in front of everybody? I mean, depending on the offense, he wouldn't be wrong. I mean, the book tells you to rebuke before all, that all may fear. That's what the law teaches you to do. But a lot of things, it's after the discretion of the leader of the congregation who's rebuking the person. Some may rebuke in private. Some might rebuke in front of all. Some might rebuke in front of a few. It just all depends. You know what I'm saying? Every situation and circumstance is different. Sometimes you might have to confess in front of everybody because that's the purpose, so that others may know that if they participate in said behavior, that will happen. Because when you got stoned in front of everybody. They didn't do it discreetly and in the cut, so nobody would know. They wanted others in the assembly to know that there's a consequence for sin. You say it's fruitless because the Most High is going to care about what you do. Like the man that died in Numbers 27 wasn't a part of the rebellion. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm glad that Emma said that, because it's a good point for us to elucidate on that matter, since I was talking about it. Like, we have to remember that. Everybody don't do or believe what you may believe. So you have to go into interactions with people knowing that. Now, if they hold to what you believe, then you can rebuke them. Because then at that point, you would know that, okay, you're being hypocritical. But if they don't believe what you believe, they're not going to see it as a sin. Because now you're going to spend your time convincing them how that's a sin. And like the brother just stated, you're going to get into a debate. And unless that's what you wanted, you know, what was the point of that? You know what I'm saying? So that's just something to consider. And I just use that specifically because I know, because earlier around Passover time, these people were making video after video after video after video rebuking this man. And I only knew about it because my homeboy, when I was on the screen with him, he mentioned it. And I didn't know what he was talking about. So I had to YouTube search, because I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. And then I seen it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this information been out here. You know what I'm saying? I know a dude put that out there 2015, 2016. You know what I'm saying? About that particular situation. You know what I'm saying? That's not new information. But that's why this man made videos about divorce and remarriage is not a sin, because he don't believe that. That's a whole nother conversation. Do you want to get in that conversation with him? He believed in multiple wives. Do you want to get in that conversation with him? You can't rebuke somebody who don't think they're wrong. You like when people go to, I'm going to rebuke a Christian, they around there eating pork. If they don't believe they're wrong, then all you're going to get into is a scriptural debate about them eating pork. They don't think they're wrong. If they don't believe Christmas is wrong, you can't rebuke them because they don't believe they're wrong. So you're wasting your time. All you're going to do is get in a debate, and you're going to get frustrated. Because this person is going to spend their time defending, this is why I can do this. And then was it really about the rebuke? Or did you just want to destroy their doctrine? Now, I'm not saying that about them men, and I'm talking about for us. We have to ask ourselves that question. Because remember, you're supposed to rebuke your neighbor to not suffer sin upon him. So are you rebuking this person so they can live? Or are you trying to win a debate? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. He said, it's actually sad how because one end we have pastors who sugarcoat sermons for itchy ears, and on the other hand, we have camps telling new believers how Esau is the white man for ours. What you say? My God, today. We just mentioned that earlier today. Who cares who Esau is? I'm not spending no time talking about that. Who gives a damn? You know what I'm saying? But like I said, that's doctrine. That's not gospel. That's why you had a lot of dudes. I believe Esau was the white man. I had to change it because you was dealing with doctrine. But who cares about that? Let's get to what we got to get to. Verse 6. Verse 5 again, Haggai. The word that I covenanted with you when you came out of Mizraim, so my ruach remain among you. Fear you not. But thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, yet once a little while I shake the heavens and the earth, the sea and the dry. And I will shake the nations, and the desire of the nations shall come, and I will fill this house with esteem, saith Yahuwah of hosts. The silver, mine. The gold, mine, saith Yahuwah of hosts. The esteem of this latter house shall be greater than that of the former, saith Yahuwah of hosts. In this place will I give shalom, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Now, we read, right? Y'all know they mocked Mashiach when he was on the tree. That's the astonishment. You know, he died. That's the desolation. I mean, that's the byword, the mocking, the taunting. If you be the son of God, bring yourself down from this tree. He saved others. He can't save himself. That's when he made that house a byword. Remember when John chapter 2, he said, destroy this temple and I rebuild it in 3 days. Oh, you're welcome. Then he said he didn't speak of he spake of the temple of his body. They didn't understand what he was talking about. So when you see Mashiach in the esteem, because he was made in the image of Elohim and as forth as being made his flesh and blood in Adam's image, that's a level of esteem. But he said that esteem would be greater than the former house. Let's look at 1 Corinthians 15 and 43? 44? We'll see. And also, too, Emma, that's not to disparage any of the men. 40 is fine. Matter of fact, 39. That's not to disparage any of the men who made videos on that topic, because some men believe that that's what they ought to do. And who am I to go off on them for what they feel like they ought to do? It's just certain things that I wouldn't do based off what I see in the word. And I don't really watch a lot of videos of dudes rebuking other men, because a lot of that stuff ain't none of my business. You know what I'm saying? Shalom, Brother Marcus. Some of it, like I said, it'd be funny just because some of these dudes are characters, not characters in a negative way, but just dudes be funny. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't really be plugged in on what a lot of these people got going on. But clearly it'd be a lot of stuff going on. You know what I'm talking about? Like I told you, the young lady who got convicted of murder, like I knew she was dealing with a court case because we, you know what I'm saying, follow each other on Instagram, this, that, and the third. I didn't know what she was locked up for because I never sought it out and asked. You know what I'm saying? And I seen the dude she with asking for Israelites to donate money for a lawyer for. I'm like, shoot, that's unfortunate. And then to find out she was on trial for murder. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't come to y'all and ask y'all to donate money to lawyer fees for a homicide without giving you all the information pertaining to what they have against this person. You know what I'm saying? I just couldn't come to you and say, that's an Israelite, you should give money, they're in distress. And you're like, well, what they in jail for? You'll know when the truth come out. Then why are you asking me why would I give money to you? Like, if you asked me that, I couldn't even be mad at you. I could understand why this person would be offended because they have a certain level of care for this person. I can't be mad at them for that. If you care about that person, you care about that person. That's none of my business. But asking people to get a hard-earned money to something and they don't know why they giving it. Because what if you present this information and I determine this person is guilty? I don't want to give my money to a murderer. What if I hear this information, I believe, you know what? I don't think this person did this. I don't see in good, and my conscience don't condemn me for giving money to help this person. As a person, when you're dealing with godliness, having a just weight and a just measure, you have to give all the information so the person can judge according to righteous judgment, not according to appearance, if they want to participate in that. Like, this is just simple godly ethics, if you would. Like, this is how this is supposed to be done. It's nothing personal. See, a lot of people look at stuff in this word, man, and they take this stuff personal. You can't. I can't have a personal issue with somebody I don't know. A lot of dudes be having personal problems with people, and it'd be a doctrinal disagreement. You don't even know this person. You've never met them. How can you dislike someone you don't know? Like, that's insane to me. If you haven't had any direct dealings with a person, how can you really say if you like them or not? That's crazy. It's grown people who on the internet. So there's grown people in real life who do that. I don't like him. Do you know him? No. How you don't? Then how you know you don't like him? You don't even know this nigga. That is crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's just not a mature way of operating. And unfortunately, when it comes to spiritually, we are very immature people. We still behave like children, but want the respect of men. My God, today. Luke chapter 9. That's not going to work. That's not going to work. Oh, I'm supposed to read 1 Corinthians 15. I'm sorry, y'all, because I ain't got that page in my book and it ain't open. It threw me off. 1 Corinthians 15 and 38. All flesh, not the same flesh, but there one a flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, another of fishes, another of birds. Also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the esteem of the celestial one and the of the terrestrial another. One esteem of the sun, another esteem of the moon, another esteem of the stars. For one star different from star in esteem. So also the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption. It is sown as dishonor, it is raised in esteem. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There's a natural body and there's a spiritual body. And so it is written. The first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam, a quickening ruach. Howbeit that not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterwards of that which is spiritual. The first man of the earth, earthy. The second man, the Lord from heaven. As the earthy, such as they that are also earthy. As the heavenly, such as they that are also heavenly. And we have also borne the image of the earthy. We shall also born. We say the virgin oxen, like, yeah. We shall also bear the image of the heavenly. And that was wild. That virgin stuff, that was wild. I understand why he was doing it. I don't think he was necessarily auctioning them women, but the optics were terrible. You know what I'm saying? It was terrible. Because what he was trying to do was boast on the purity of the young women and the submissiveness of these women who he had in the congregation and say, look at, we got these wives, this, that, there, and the third. But how he went about it was absolutely terrible. Like the optics were terrible to where it looks like you literally out here auctioning off young virgins, like what you got going on. But like I said, dealing in this social media age with content, somebody will take that and just jump off the cliff with it and make you look any type of way. You know what I'm saying? So, but dudes don't be thinking about that when they be doing what they be doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we always have to look at things and don't judge it based off how it looks, but listen to what's going on, assess what you're looking at. You know what I'm saying? And then judge. Because if you just judge off first snap, you're like, oh, this nigga's a pervert. But when you listening to him when he talking, he really boasting about what it is that they got going on at the expense of these young women. Because I wouldn't take any young woman around here who was a virgin, be like, look at these young women we got doing it, because that's disrespect to their father, to be 100% honest with you. That's just my personal perspective. That's disrespect to their father. I wouldn't disrespect their fathers in this fashion by bringing their daughters up here. Look, yeah, she can make you some bread and she ain't never been touched. She ain't never, like, come on, man. There's no way. But of course, it's also different for me. I've been known all these little girls since they were babies. So I'm not going to want to bring them up in a situation and circumstance that make them feel awkward and uncomfortable to bring some type of esteem and attention to myself and to look at how great our congregation is. Other congregations ain't got young virgins like what we got. No, I'm not doing that. And more so than anything, to be 100% honest with you, as I just said, I have more respect for their fathers than to do that because these are my brothers. This is my nigga, my friend. Why would I do his daughter like that? A lot of dudes, when they run in these assemblies, they don't look at these men as genuinely their brother and their friend. So that's why they don't mind doing those type of things. You know what I'm saying? To be 100% honest with you. When you look at yourself that I'm the such and such, and I'm your overseer, and I'm your shepherd, you don't look at him and say, you have one master, even Mashiach, and you're all brethren. You don't look at that, this is your brother. Would you take your blood brother, which means that be your niece? Would you drag your niece up there and do her like that? Nah, you wouldn't. Would you bring your daughter up there and do that? Nah, you wouldn't do that. And if you did, I think you're weird. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, this stuff, I say, I don't know that man. I'm just saying I wouldn't do that based off, because it's public. You can find it. You can see it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? This ain't about him. It's about how that was executed. I wouldn't do that personally. And that's why the respect that I would have for their father. I'm not going to do my, that'd be like me getting fat boy daughters and bringing them up there. Come on, man. I was there when they were born. I'm not doing that. That's before I even talk about any of y'all churn. I'm talking about people like before I even knew you. I'm not doing that, bro. I've been friends with this man for 30 years. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Much less, come on, man. Man, my sister and brother-in-law, man, they got 4 daughters, man. I got 4 nieces. I'm not bringing my niece. Look, yeah, she can make you some bread, brother. I have to pay a mean dowry for this one. Come on, man. I would have punched myself in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you got going on, nigga? You been high? You been drinking? Well, what's wrong with you? But it's certain things that we see and we don't think that it's not. I ain't necessarily say he wrong. It just wasn't expedient. Yes, yeah, definitely distasteful all the way around the board. You know what I'm saying? It's just not something that. Yeah, no. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even got to be in no word. It's just no. We not doing that. That's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. You saying? He said it's a lot of chasing these days. We need to give Yahuwah a chance to bless us, but I guess we would have to step back and look at ourselves. I mean, none of us are worthy of Yahuwah blessing us, but in His mercy, He do it. So when you take delight and pleasure in Him, He take delight in giving you the things that you desire, if it be according to His will. He take delight in it. It's not even an issue to Him. He love to do it. If you love to please Him, He got no problem with it. You know what I'm saying? That's really the thought process. We just get caught up in a whole lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I said, like, that's why I don't be mentioning and talking about certain stuff that I see what people got going on. And if I do, it's just in general. Because talk about these people for what? You know what I'm saying? I don't care what them people got going on. Because a lot of these dudes are goofies. And they really think that they're more popular and known than what they are. And they think that people want an audience off of them because they worry about getting an audience. And see, I don't want to get caught up in nothing like that because I've been done cuss one of these niggas out for coming at me like that. Because I'm going to be like, now you think I'm a buster. I ain't on that type of time because I don't care about no audience. But we've been on YouTube a long time. We ain't even got 1,000 subscribers. If we cared about an audience, you can go get an audience. It's not hard to generate an audience, but you have to compromise yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not willing to do that for an audience. I'm just not. I'm not willing to do that. I'm not going to do it. And the audience is not important because I would rather have quality people who want to say they sold than just to say we have a lot of people with the opportunity to bring some money in or to have notoriety. What am I going to do with your notoriety? They know me. What am I going to do with that? That's supposed to make me feel good about myself? You're supposed to have some type of pride. I'm known in the Hebrew community. Come on, man. You a lame. You know what I'm saying? Something wrong with you, cuz. Go get some help. But nevertheless, where I was going at, I don't even remember. Luke chapter 9. Luke chapter 9. All right, dog. So we can get on off here. Luke chapter 9 is what I was headed to, man. But you know, the game is what it is, and that's why he told you to leave. That's why you can't get caught up in trying to rebuke every elder and all that type of stuff, because the game is the game. You know what I'm saying? You just got to know how to navigate in it. The game is the game. Look here, man, this game has been the same before any of us were born. This game been played the same way. 2,000 years ago, it was played the same way. During the time of the kings, it was played the same way. During the time of Yahushua, son of Nun, it was played the same way when we were in the wilderness. When you had Korah rising up because he felt like he was somebody and wanted to be known. To where Absalom was still in the hearts and minds of the people. To where the scribes and Pharisees was operating, or how Gamaliel told you there was men who rose up, who made themselves of a reputation to have many people following behind them. Ain't nothing new under the sun, baby. The game is the game. So you just got to know how to navigate and move in the game based off the game that Yahuwah done gave you. And when you move in the game based off the game that Yahuwah done gave, because his game is flawless. You know what I'm talking about? His game ain't never gonna have you slacking on your macking, but a lot of times you ain't trying to be upright with your pimping. So you're not gonna pay attention to what he talking about so that you can move, as Jay-Z once put it, in a room full of vultures. Like he tell you, hey, don't lust after a woman's beauty with your eyelids. Niggas don't listen. You know what I'm talking about? He tell you, hey man, cast out the scorner and the contention will cease. You don't do it. He tell you, hey, debate your cause with your neighbor. You don't do it. He said, hey, if your enemy be hungry, give him something to eat. You don't do it. You know what I'm saying? He telling you how to move. Yeah, you say like, boy, yeah, that's right. Yes, like I said, there's always going to be a Marlo. It's always going to be like that. The game is the game. The game don't change, just the players. It's just like football. Football, still football. Only thing changes is the name on the back of the jersey. Players come in and out every year, but the game is still the game. Do you know what I'm saying? And when we talk about the game, we talk about the game of Kadash, the game of holiness. That game is still the same. It was the same from the day that Adam was made from the dust of the ground, and it's going to be the same to the day that Yahushua stand on the Mount of Olives. Like the game is the game. You know what I'm saying? But he's giving you the wisdom and understanding through the Son of God to know how to navigate around all these sinners, so that you don't get caught up in their folly, that your mind is solely focused on him. You did? He said also in the wire, he told Marlo, many kings wore the crown before you, and when your time is up, that's right, many gonna wear it after you. Look here, it's been many false prophets, pastors, preachers, and teachers before any of us were born. And it's gonna be many more while we here, and there's gonna be some when we gone. So you can't get caught up in that. You know what I'm saying? You can't get caught up in that. I'm talking about that's one of the hardcore statements when he said that to Marlo Booker. That's real talk. So a lot of people that wore the crown before you, and it's gonna be somebody wear it after you. Time don't stop. I told somebody this other day, right? Yesterday, matter of fact, I would tell them, like, you know, some people have been like, man, I would have took some time off when my mama died. Take some time off or what? I said, life don't stop because somebody dies. Life stops when you die. You know what I'm saying? Everything that you responsible for and that you have to do doesn't stop because somebody passes away, because you're still alive. It stops when you die. See, some people look at that, I couldn't do that. Hey, that's you, brother. You may not be committed to whatever it is that you got going on. But I'm supposed to tell you who and the people, no, I can't do nothing because my mama died. As a 44-year-old man, this how you moving, cuz? I could understand when you're in your 20s. You might not have the mental and emotional stability to handle something like that, to maintain to a major responsibility. I give you a pass for it. I could even give you a pass for that in your early 30s. You know what I'm saying? But as a 40-year-old man, well, what's wrong with you, cuz? But see, then we forget what the man said. He said, hey, man, you got to be willing to forsake father, mother, brother, sister, sons, daughters, wives, even your own life also, or you can't be my disciple. How this man gonna be able to teach you of heavenly things if you can't even let go of earthly things? That's why you see how that segue come in to see how you free among the dead when we get to this Luke 9. Look at the Lord. You know what I'm talking about? That's stuff you got to pay attention to. But I know everybody can't do that. I would tell them like this here. My old lady was in labor, man. Y'all know what I was doing when she was in labor with Joanne. Some people looked at, I would have did all that. And I say, you know the difference between my old lady and yours? She would have looked at me funny if I'd have been like, I ain't going to go preach. I got to sit in here with you. She's like, well, what this nigga got going on? Nigga, I'm going to still be in here. You supposed to tell the people, no, I can't be there for you. Dude told me you need to take a day off. Take a day. These niggas be taking days off from preaching and you only preach once a week. Nigga, you only work 4 times a month. And you don't even fool with the people who you're in your congregation with. What are you taking a break from? How are you so consumed with ministry work and you preach once a week? What are you doing? Bro, you work 2 hours a week. I literally heard a dude say, you don't know how hard it is to come up with these lessons every week. Bro, you only preach once a week, cuz. You got whole 6 days to come up with that. That's kind of light. What are you talking about? These niggas crazy as all out though, man. And they'll convince you that they working hard. Mm-hmm. They ain't working for the right person. My God, today. Luke 9 and 57. Shoot, you can make it 51 because I feel like reading it. And it came to pass when the time was come that he should be received up, he steadfastly set his face to go to Jerusalem. And he sent messengers before his face, and they went and entered into the village of the Samaritans to make ready for him. And they did not receive him because his face was as though he would go to Jerusalem. When the disciples and James and John saw, they said, Lord, will you command fire to come down from heaven and consume them, even as Elijah did? He turned and rebuked them and said, you know not what manner of spirit you are of. For the son of Adam has not come to destroy men's lives, but to save. That's what we have to remember. That's where that rebuking and all that stuff come in at. We're not here to destroy men. We're here to save them. So we're not trying to destroy you. Destroy you for what? You're only going to get destroyed because you're hard-headed. That's what Proverbs 29 tells you. If you have to be rebuked repeatedly, you'll be destroyed, and without remedy, no health, no cure. And it came to pass that as they went in a way, a certain said unto him, Lord, I will follow you wherever you go. Yahushua said unto him, foxes have holes and the birds of the air nest, but the son of Adam have not where to lay head. He said unto another, follow me. But he said, Lord, suffer me first to go bury my father. And the Yahushua said unto him, let the dead bury their dead. But go you and preach the Malkuth Elohim. Another said, Lord, I will follow you, but let me first go bid them farewell, which are at home at my house. Yahushua said unto him, no man having putting his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the Malkuth Elohim. That's why a lot of brothers can't be no preacher. Because you want to go back to the house. Let me holler at my mama and my daddy and my old lady. Nigga, go get to this work. A lot of you can't do that. A lot of you are too tied to your family and friends and your own life also to be that committed, disciplined, and dedicated to the dominion of God. Now, notice our focus came here for he said, let the dead bury the dead. When you're dealing with free among the dead, remember, free is kof shay. That's free from obligation and tax. See, you don't understand. He was trying to make him free among the dead, and he didn't want to be free. See, I did everything we talked about from the destruction of that house and everything in between was the setup, y'all willing, for what we're going to talk about on Friday about really being free among the dead. See, you don't even understand that when he said in Genesis 3 and 22, lest he eat from this tree and live forever, that he's giving you that opportunity to the tree of life by faith that you could literally be free among the dead. We don't pay attention to that. That's how you can be like, and it's written that ye are gods, but you shall die like men. You gods, but you'll die like men. You free among the dead. See, Yahushua was free among the dead. That's why he was able to do the things that it said, can you do this in the grave, when he preached to the spirits in prison. But we want to relate to when you receive that Ruach HaKodesh, you free among the dead. You free among the dead. You got to ask yourself, do you want to be free among the dead without obligation or tax? That's why he say a spiritual man judgeth all things. He's judged by no man. That's why he say you are free from the law of sin and death in Yahushua HaMashiach. You free among the dead. Because if you don't have the Ruach, guess what you are? You're dead. Because he said he that believe He said, I'm the resurrection and the life. Whosoever live and believe in me shall never taste death. Believe you this, you free among the dead. This is what the priesthood of Melchizedek was coming to bring. Let me bring this in here because Stanley asked me to mention this here before we get out of here, man. I ain't had no segue to work it in, but I'm going to just tack it in on the back end. Matthew 26, verse 26. I'll ask y'all this to see if those who've been around, if they remember. And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread and blessed and brake and gave to the disciples and said, take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave it to them, saying, drink you all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until the day when I drink it new with you in my Abba's kingdom. Does anybody recall or remember why he said that he would not drink wine until he drank it new in his Father's kingdom? We haven't talked about that in a long time. It's not like something to always bring up and mention. But does anybody remember from the law why he said he would not drink wine until he drink it new with you in his Father's kingdom? Why did he say that? And remember, this is pertaining to what we've been dealing with for the last 6 to 9 weeks. But yeah, free among the dead. That's where we at with it. And it's timely in times of this nature. But also, too, what we're talking about with the temple, because I forgot to mention that. We know, according to Daniel chapter 9, that the temple was destroyed. Why? Because the sacrifice and oblation ceased. Well, why did the sacrifice and oblation cease? Because Yahushua was that day of atonement sacrifice to make reconciliation for iniquity. Therefore, there was no need for the temple to stand. There was no need for it because the atonement had been made, which is why when he died, the earth shook. And you would be correct, sir. Yes, sir. Bazooka, yes, sir. Come over here to Leviticus chapter 10, verse 8 for that, if you would. I appreciate you, sir. So listen. That's why the veil rent and exposed the mercy seat, because now you can come unto God and you don't need a temple to approach unto him. He literally told you in Ezekiel 11 that he would be a sanctuary for you from all the places that you were scattered. Yahushua alluded to it when a woman said, our father said in Jerusalem, in these mountains you should worship, but you said in Jerusalem. And he said, woman, let me tell you something, baby. Neither in Jerusalem nor in these mountains will you worship the Abba. He said, man, Elohim, he said, you know not what you worship. We know what we worship because salvation is for the Yahudim. But see, some of them look at, that's for the southern kingdom. Nah, it's for those who circumcise in the heart, like Jeremiah told. You know what I'm saying? It's those who circumcise in the heart, like, you know what I'm talking about? Well, what Moses told. You put off the foreskin of your flesh, or you put off the flesh and put on the ruach. You understand? You don't put that off. You did? He said the Nazarite vow, because he was, yeah, man. You have to. You have to be dedicated. You have to sanctify yourself. We don't even realize receiving the Ruach HaKodesh is a form of having a Nazarite vow without saying I ain't gonna drink no wine. You know what I'm talking about? I'm dedicated. I don't need none of that. But a high priest can't go into the inner sanctuary drunk. He's about to go into the Kadash tabernacle, into the Holy of Holies to make intercession on your behalf. He ain't finna go up there sipping. He got to be clean, you know what I'm saying? He ain't finna, come on, man, what are you talking about? He ain't going up there sipping. You got dudes want to preach and they smoking weed, getting high. Talking about, I know the word better, put them high. You alive, you ever told one? If you need weed to understand the word better, you don't know God, nigga. Something wrong with you. Marijuana is not going to increase your understanding. You told yourself that. You told yourself that to make yourself feel better about smoking that weed. You told yourself that drinking this liquor gonna make me get some more understanding. Nah, bro, you a junkie and a drunk. That's what you are. You don't read no godly man in here telling me I need to smoke me a doobie. That man said in Isaiah, y'all vomiting all over the place because you're drunk and you don't know what you're talking about. And you erring in vision because you're drunk. He said, until the fulfillment of things when all the nations can worship Elohim. He was a Nazarite, but that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother conversation. A lot of people won't. How was he a Nazarite? He took on that Nazarite vow when it was time for him to die. That's why he turned down the vinegar. That's why he turned down and that vinegar is not vinegar like white vinegar from the store that was sour wine. So that's why you read in Amos, you wanted to cause the Nazarites to drink. Because we know Yahushua was going around drinking wine. They called him a drunk. See, when you doing godly works, man, a whole nigga have all type of stuff to say about you. They called him a drunk. He's a wine bibber and a glutton. He's sitting down at the house eating with these people. Let me tell you something about a lot of these sucker niggas, man. See, a lot of these niggas think, let me put it to you like this here. And I'm telling you this based off my own life experience, which I live, man. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these dudes think they doing something by standing on the corner saying they in the highways and the byways, right? See, we doing the work. But when you look at the text, you know what he sent his apostles to do? They was actually in the community amongst people, and they were going up in people's houses. You know what I'm saying? Sitting down with these people. These people were making plates for them. Like, I done that before. Like, where I stayed at, wherever I was at, bro, I was in the neighborhood amongst these people. And they would invite me in their home. Some of them would feed me. Some of them would let me rest there. You know what I'm talking about? Not standing on the corner screaming and hollering with a camera filming me, talking about I'm doing the work. I ain't never did nothing. I ain't never stood outside talking about with a camera. We out here doing the work of the Lord. Nah, bro, I was actually where I was preaching at outside. I was outside amongst these people, sitting in their homes. Like, yeah, check this out. Woo, woo, woo. That's why he told them when you go in there, man, whatever they put before you, you eat. Don't go house to house. If these people don't let you in their house, man, whatever they give you to eat, they gonna take care of you. You don't even, I'm gonna go to brother such and such house. I bet he got some good food over there. No, man. These niggas don't know what that means because they don't know what it means to actually ingratiate yourself in an area where you preaching at. You just want to go stand on the corner and scream and be seen. You lame. You don't really care about the people. Because why I need to see that? I don't need to see that. If you outside, you outside, my G. I don't need to see you outside. Who cares if you out here? Who cares? See, some dudes like, I done did that already. I done did what niggas won't do. And that's go just in the neighborhood like this here, all around, amongst the people. Sit down with them. On their back porch, on their front porch, in their living room. In their neighborhood, man. Actually, where you actually known amongst the people that, oh, that's such and such, boy. He know the word. You niggas just go downtown and set a camera up talking about, look at me, we doing the work. Sit your goofy behind out of here, man. You a goddamn fool. You know what I'm saying? Go where your people stay at. Go where the people at. You know what I'm talking about? Go where they at, in their neighborhood, and be amongst them. Because that's what the Lord did. That's what the apostles did. They were amongst them people. Them niggas don't want to do that. He said that's why spiritual maturity kicks in. I had to tell my dad, who's Jehovah's Witness, that they be wrong going to door to door. I used to think they were. Yeah, see, the difference is they knocking on people, though. Bothering them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I ain't knock on nobody, though. But people will invite you. You know what I'm saying? When they see that's what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, armor. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, people will invite you around. Not just pop up when you want to record a video to upload to say we doing the work. A lot of these boys go right out somewhere, man, to set up a camera, don't be talking to nobody but air. You know what I'm saying? And say they doing the work and post it and say we out here doing the work. Just the camera just be on them. So come on, cuz. Nah. I'd have been all through Arlington doing that, bro. I done been on Avenue B doing it. I done been in San Marco doing it. I done been downtown doing it. Like, yeah. I done been in my neighborhood doing it. Where I grew up at, just floating. Woo, sit down, drop some word, slide on out the way. Woo, sit down with people, hit them with some word, slide on out the way. And they knew a nigga, man. I told you, when me and Nell lived in Viscaya, we was known for that. People come to the house, man. We know they got some word. We finna sit down with them, man. They coming to the house. And now where we stay at, man, we can't do that type of stuff, man. And that type of people out here like that. Because where we stayed at before, I would have did it if it were possible. I'd do it out here if it's possible. I told y'all that it was nothing like that. Lil Muffin know about it. It wasn't nothing like that time. This 2012. It was nothing like that time. We was out there in that apartment doing like that. Man, if we could go back to that, I would. I promise you I would. And I'd never scream either. Yeah, you talking about people coming up, pulling up to the house like that there to get some word like that. I'd never cut the scream on, man. We at the house with it. You better catch me in the street. You know what I'm saying? Better catch me in the street. You don't catch me in the street, you ain't gonna get no word. Now, of course, we can't do that now. We're in a different space, different time. You know what I'm saying? But if I had my choice, if it was my will and my choice, oh yeah, man, you gotta catch me at the house, man. I prefer to do that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Now, of course, it's different because I got a wife, I got some kids, but I would prefer to live in the hood to do just that. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't talking about hood adjacent. I'm talking about in the trenches with it to do just that. But a part of protection is to make sure that they're not in a neighborhood where they got to duck bullets. To be 100% honest with you. But if it was my choice, I'd be in the hood with it because live right out there. Everybody know that we out here. Pull up on me. I ain't talking about no church building either, man. I ain't talking about no sanctuary. I'm talking about come holler at me at the house, man. Like Paul, man. We got to hire a house. Come get this work. We got you. Gonna feed you and all. You ain't got to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing like it, man. It's beautiful. One of the greatest times that I ever had in the word, without question. Without question. Beautiful time. Nothing equates to it that I've experienced. No disrespect, y'all. Nothing equates to it. You'd have to be there to understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, very simple. You have to be there to understand what I'm talking about. Because it's pure. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no, oh, we got to come up because it's the Sabbath. It's like, no, people pulling up on a Tuesday. They saying, hey, big bro, man, I can come to the house, man. Woo, woo. They ain't got to come to the house. We outside with it. You might be walking to the store, nigga, see you, hey, bro, woo, woo, come on, come get this work then. Yeah, man, it's beautiful. That's when you are actually, that's what they were doing. They weren't standing outside in the highways and the byways, man. That's, I'm just going to let that be what it is. Leviticus 10:8. Yahuwah spake unto Aaron, saying, do not drink wine nor strong drink. You know your sons with you when you go in the tabernacle of the congregation, lest you die. Statute forever throughout your generations. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, Zoe, word in the plate. Yeah, Emma, that's what we used to do, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, Muffin would pull up, but, you know, Muffin didn't live with us. It was my sister there. If Ned was on here, she could tell you. Shoot, me and her talked about that a couple months ago. It wasn't nothing like that time. Like I said, that was 2012. We was right over in the apartments off University. You know what I'm talking about? Beautiful time. Because even before then, when we was in, when my mama lived in Sundance, and then I was really getting crunk up on it, man, I used to be up and down University Club, all in Justina with it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knew what type of time we was on. They knew they seen me, and I never ran up on people and say, get this word. They just knew what type of time a nigga was on. They want to sit down, they be like, hey, man, boss, man, I want, man, tell me about this, that, there, and the third. Did all of them take heed to it? No. Shoot, some of them young boys, they stone cold killers. You know what I'm talking about? But they respected what we was on because people want to know because they seeing you. They're not just seeing you when it's convenient for you. When you want to put your camera up. Or we're going to come around on the Sabbath. They seen me every day. Matter of fact, the only days they didn't see me after a certain period of time because I worked 4 days. And I think I was in that hotel for 3 days and we was off Harsh Road with it at that time. Them the only days they didn't see me. Because those were the 3 days that I had somewhere to actually lay my head at. The other 4 days I ain't had nowhere to lay my head at. I actually slept where I worked at. You know what I'm saying? So when I left work, I went out to preach the word. And I was doing that before I got to work. So them 3 days, that Sabbath, like it was literally, okay, you could cease and desist. I wasn't out in the street with it because I was putting in work all the other days. You know what I'm saying? Every day. This one here, you can lay down and you can go to sleep. And sleep comfortable. You know what I'm saying? A lot of niggas not going to do that. Nigga, I lived off $200 a week and $200 a month worth of food stamps for at least a year, and never slept outside and never went home. You know what I'm saying? That's a true story. Well, hallelujah for Yahushua in the word, man. I appreciate y'all. I bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Love y'all. You know what I'm saying? Remember, Trump is coming. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to be a continuation of the Psalms 88 and 5, Free Among the Dead. So this Wednesday, usually when we slide into a new topic, is usually the setup. Yes, sir, Zo. And then you get into the meat and potatoes on the Sabbath, because we're going to have service Friday night. We're going to start at 9, and then Saturday afternoon, anywhere between 2:30 and 3 o'clock is when the stream will actually go live. And we'll probably be dealing with this particular topic for 2 to 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? And thanks for that. Amen, Marcus, man. You be safe out here too. Love you too, man. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's how I go, man. Peace, bro. Yes, sir. So, yeah, man. And like I said, but when I'm telling you about this, it's like 2012. That's in Numbers chapter 6. Y'all willing Friday, just remind me about it if I don't remember, and we can go through it. But that's in Numbers chapter 6. That's where you can read it at. That's when somebody has decided that they're going to dedicate themselves to Yahuwah for a period of time. But it's in Numbers chapter 6. You can read that. Just remind me, y'all willing, man. We can take a journey through that. So yeah, man, you know. The trumpets on the 20th. So, like I said, man, we'll try to do the Zoom call that I told y'all about. For people who out of town, you have to let me know. You have to contact me. You have to reach out to me that you want to be on that, so I can facilitate that you get the link for it. Because since everybody, y'all willing to be there on trumpets, it's easier to do that. So there's not a multitude of links on this man's Zoom. That way I can do it one time and we can be done with it. It's not going to be a long, drawn-out conversation. We've already scripturally went over what we needed to go over. We can take the presentation that the brothers have already made, mesh that with what the words say, and then after that, it's on y'all. To be honest and honest with you. You know what I'm saying? There ain't much to it after that. You know what I'm saying? It's not a complex thing we got going on. Keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? Baruch, my G. Shoot, man. That one there, man. That's a hard question to answer, bro. Because it's going to come down to whatever it is that I don't necessarily know what you got going on in life to say meditate on this or meditate on that. You know what I'm saying? But just on general principle, Psalms 101 coming to my mind. So read and meditate on that and then get back with me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a multitude of things. So sometimes it's just hard to just tell somebody, oh, just go read this. But Psalms 101 came to mind. So read that and meditate on that. You did. So yeah, man. Y'all willing, man, everybody who coming for trumpets or coming for atonement or coming for tabernacles, y'all willing to be able to get here safe and in one piece. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all already know the place. 150 for singles, 225 for families. That's what Mother say the price is. It's static. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Gotta say, you know, praise Yahuwah. I know Misha postpartum a few weeks now, and so is Lee. So that's a beautiful thing. And Kalisha probably ready to go ahead and poop out that baby, her doggone self. You know what I'm saying? If you do it right, that's what you're doing. If you're squatting, they don't have y'all squat over the birthing stool. 101, my G. Psalms 101. And we do it like that. So, yeah, you were willing, man. Till the next time. I seen something. Okay, grace and peace, man.